Hiya, I hope you're keeping well. Today I'm going to do a really quick look at under eye correctors. Sarah, you'd asked me this week for something to use under the eyes if you've got fine lines and you want it to stay and not move around and last for the day. And I just wanted to show you as an alternative to concealer. I wonder if you've used a corrector before. Now, a concealer, for example, I've got my It Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye here that I used in a video a few videos back. A concealer, often you'll have in the same colour as your complexion or maybe a bit lighter or darker, however you like to wear it. And you can essentially use this on the eye area or everywhere, whatever you want to do. A corrector, this is the Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector, my favourite one. This will have more of a peachy or whatever colour it is you're looking to counteract undertone to it. And the aim of this will be to contrast the darkness under the eye. I'm not terribly dark under my eye, to be honest with you, but I just want to show you how this works. I'm going right into the pot because this is my personal one. But if I show you, I'm going to pat this underneath. Instantly, hopefully the camera will pick up. It almost looks kind of pinky peachy. And that's because the warmth of those colours will kind of contrast the darkness of purple or blue or whatever you might find under the eyes. And what I'm going to do here is really gently with my ring finger pat this in. Now, the reason I particularly like this one from Becca is that it has a really dewy finish, and because it's so fresh and dewy, what that means is the last thing I want to put on any fine lines or wrinkles is something dry that's going to sit in those lines, that's going to accentuate them. This is so brightening. I mean, look at that. Instantly lifts and brightens everything. But because it's quite juicy to the touch, it doesn't look or feel dry. Now that I've put that everywhere and I've created this really brightened band, to be honest, I would usually have done this before the likes of blusher and concealer and things, but you can really see the difference. I'm then going to take a little bit of setting powder, a translucent powder, over this. What you could also do, if that was too pinky or peachy for you, is put your concealer on top, because your concealer is meant to be that perfect match for your skin, as opposed to this, which is that wowzer brightening. But I actually don't mind the wowzer brightening. So I'm taking some translucent powder. I've taken it on a tiny brush as well. This is a Peach's PC17, so that I can absolutely seal every bit of that in. And I'm not losing the luminosity, but if that stays in that kind of moist texture all day, it's going to run and fall into those little creases and folds. Whereas there, that you've set it with that powder, you've got all the benefits of that colour correcting, but it's not going to move. If you haven't got a corrector, this is what I meant to show you. Whenever I do these videos, I lie things out in front of me to remind myself of tips. And then I think, why have I left this out again? And I've got a cream blusher in front of me and I've remembered why. If you haven't got a corrector, you're going to take your favourite concealer and take a pink or a peach lipstick. I'm actually going to use a cream blush. You can do that. And I want you to take a little bit of it on the back of a brush or whatever. Same kind of ratio as your concealer and mix them together. I'm just going to swap brushes actually to something that is nice and flat. Now, the It Cosmetics concealer is very full coverage, so it's quite dominated that colour. But if you can see there, it's slightly peachier. You might even want to get something even peachier than that. But what you could do is use this first. I'm just going to show you on this side for argument's sake. You've made your own there. You've got that slight bit of peachiness to knock out any dark parts. And then, as per what I said about the other side, if I can get away with it, I could leave that on its own. I think I can get away with that. Or if it did look overly salmon-like in colour, you're just going to go over with a tiny layer of your concealer. But what it means is, you know, if you think of you put your concealer straight on top of a bright colour, the bright colour is going to show through. Whereas if you colour correct that bright colour, then put your usual concealer on, it's going to work. Those are tips that work for any skin tones, any skin types. If you literally think of it like in primary school when you learn that like blue and yellow make green and red is the opposite of green, just go for those opposites. So say if I was colour correcting redness, a lot of people use green primers or green products because they're each other's opposite. Think of it like that. I feel like I keep repeating all of the same things, so I'm going to live and leave you with that. Have a little look. If I've overcomplicated that, let me know and I'm going to make a shorter, more concise version. But hopefully you've got a few tips there for colour correcting and how to seal it in place so that it won't move under the eye. Oh, one last thing actually. The key takeaway for this, going into fine lines and wrinkles, one of the reasons I really like it is that it's so luminous and moisturising that it doesn't dry out those fine lines and wrinkles. If you're finding that your concealer product is feeling a bit dry, do exactly the same as I did on the back of my hand, but mix in a bit of moisturiser, eye cream, something hydrating that you have. And again, it makes it that more hydrating texture that's not going to sit in those fine lines. Okay, I'll talk to you soon.